to the front.
Big E is definitely in the building.
You.
Dante is definitely in the building.
Yo.
And I'm Soup. And welcome to Superstars of Sports. H can be with us this week. He had a death in the family. He lost his father-in-law, so we send all our prayers and our love to him and his wife, Chrissy.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, let's start the show.
Before we get into it, like we always do, rate, comment, subscribe, like. We need y'all help, man. We need y'all to let everybody else know. Y'all faithfully watchers. We see some of the comments on the YouTube videos. The numbers is good on the streamer, but we need to get bigger. We need to get louder. So please, if y'all pay attention to us, just show some love and a quick share. It doesn't take much on your socials. Subscribe. Check us out on Google Play. Check us out on Apple and Spotify. Also, Spinwax Radio. Download the app and all your app stores. Spinwax Radio. You hear us there. Like H always says, it costs nothing to show love, so show some love, people. We're gonna start off the show. It seems like news always breaks when we're about to record, right? As we are recording this podcast, literally the word just dropped that the Green Bay Packers just traded the number one receiver, possibly in the NFL, Davante Adams, to the Las Vegas Raiders.
How you feel about that, A?
I'm going to pass it over to my man fresh back from Charlotte. Right? It was a little vacation. Young boy down there on spring break. That's with them Southern Bells.
He was on spring break?
He was on spring break last week.
You ain't tell me that part. You ain't tell me that part.
That's why I told you. He'd probably tell you more if I wasn't in the room.
No wonder his hair got longer while he was gone.
The beard looking like H's now, right?
All right.
What's up with Davante Adams? What you think? Can you tell the world what the trade details was that you just looked up?
Oh, it was so supposedly they're giving Davante Adams a new contract, 5 years, $141 million, and the Packers are getting back 2 picks, prime picks. Never heard of that. Las Vegas has 22 and I think 52 in the second round picks. I don't know what's 52. Converted into the first round.
No, that's like the 20th pick in the second round.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. So I feel like Green Bay got robbed. Maybe now that just happened, be on the lookout if A-Rod might want to get traded. If he does, the only place I think he'll go to is San Fran.
You think somebody gonna suck up that contract, Ted?
I mean, that's Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, to me, I feel like that's why Green Bay made the trade. If you tell me those numbers again, 5 for 140.
140.
Quick math, that's almost $27 million a year for a receiver. Now, there's no doubt if he's not one, he's 1A in the game. Yeah. But no wide receivers ever won in the Super Bowl, and $27 million, that's damn near middle tier quarterback money.
Yeah.
So with them giving Aaron Rodgers that bag, he wasn't getting that money in Green Bay. So maybe Green Bay looks for Beckham, who Beckham is still a free agent. When the Rams just signing Allen Robinson today, so maybe Beckham goes there. Your boy Jarvis Landry, who you've been loving in fantasy for years now, maybe he goes to Green Bay. But that's a lot of money.
How you feel about Beckham with the injury, though? Would you invest in him right now?
I mean, for right now, the Packers need it.
Yeah,
right? The Packers need it.
If I'm the Packers...
They got nobody. They got
You got to draft 2 receivers. I'm thinking both first rounds.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like what type of price tag you think Beckham gonna have with him though?
Oh, for the
and he keeps getting hurt now.
I mean, if you're Green Bay, you're gonna play on the fact that you come to play with Rodgers, right? You can make most of his money incentive laden, right? You play a certain amount of games, you get X amount of dollars. Make a certain amount of catches, you get another X amount of dollars, so they can protect themselves money wise. But I mean.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Since we don't have H here.
Are you gonna tell me I'm an owner too? You gonna call me the owner too?
Since we have H here, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. In Beckham's best interest, would you take an incentive-friendly contract, knowing that you've been hurt for the last few seasons?
I mean, I just got my ring, right? I just got my ring. I played with bad quarterbacks. Even the great quarterback, you see how good he played finally being with a competent quarterback in Matt Stafford. Now you're going with the best one. So I'm going to bet on myself that me and A-Rod can make magic.
Now, how you feel about that? You think he's going to stay healthy? So you think he's going to stay healthy? That's what you thinking?
You asked me if I would do that. I would do that. So yeah, let's look at the options, right? So we're going to bring your cousin into it, right? Yeah. The Eagles come to you and say, hey, look, I'm giving you a guaranteed 3-year, $55 million deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You come with Jalen Hurts, you're going to be the number one receiver. But remember, you're playing with Jalen Hurts, right?
Yeah.
Or the Packers come to you and say, hey, look, I'm going to give you a 1-year deal. At most, if you hit all your numbers, you can get 18 mil. But maybe, with some incentives, maybe you might only get 9 mil. But you get to play with Aaron Rodgers. So my thing is like, I'm going to go take that 18, definitely bank 9. Me and A-Rod going to light this shit up. And then the next year, I'm going to get everything.
No, I'm taking that 55.
Because you just want to come play with your cousin. That's what
Philly popping right now. Green Bay cold as shit.
You don't think Philly cold? He played in New York. He ain't care. But he played in Cleveland. He ain't care.
I feel like Philly's a way better market than going to Green Bay. As far as the type of lifestyle I think Odell likes to live. What you think, Tay?
I agree with you. I think it's more about the money now that he already has his ring. And it's who knows what's going on in Green Bay. I mean, Aaron Rodgers might want to leave now. I'll be a lookout if they grab Julio Jones too. He got cut.
Yeah, Julio Jones got cut today
too.
Yeah, so
he got cut. What?
Yeah, so we got Julio still out there, Beckham still out there, Jarvis Landry is still out there.
So that's what I'm saying. Nobody's safe in this league. Nobody's safe. He got cut.
And look at the AFC West now. So they all got the quarterbacks out there. Now they stacking up on. So the Los Angeles Chargers stacked up on defense with Von Miller and J.C. Jackson. But they got
Khalil Mack.
Yeah, who did I say? Von Miller? My bad.
Khalil Mack is San Diego now, right?
Yeah, well, they're Los Angeles. The Los Angeles, right? So Khalil Mack went there, and they signed the best corner on the market, right? On top of having Justin Herbert. We all know the Broncos got Russell Westbrook, and they got Jerry Jeudy out there, right? We all know Kansas City, but they're with Pat and Tyreek Hill. And now you got the Oakland Raiders with David Carr and Devontae Adams, who, like Dante brought up right before we started filming, Devontae Adams played with David Carr in college. That's where he's from.
Derek Carr.
Derek.
David.
I call him his brother? Listen, man, it's been a long sports day. I'm still watching the tournament. My bracket's fucked up because of Iowa. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a long day. Baseball free agency still going on. I'm big on that. Philly's made a couple big moves, but nothing like the Dodgers. So, yeah, I got names all jacked up. But the NFL is now becoming the NBA.
Yeah.
Right? It's player empowerment, player movement. There's $1 billion worth of money to get out there. And if I'm not getting it from where I want to, I don't mind sitting out or holding out or going somewhere until I get the money.
Now, I want to go touch back on what Tay said when he think that Aaron might want to be out. Who you think could eat that contract right now?
I know one team. I know one.
Put it out there.
And I know one.
Put it out there.
Your cousin might have to go somewhere else.
He'd be out there.
I mean, but I don't think there's going to be any more quarterback movement until Deshaun Watson's decisions made.
I got you all the way.
And
I agree with that too.
From what I read, I don't have no inside information, but from what I read, a lot of the moves it has to be done by tomorrow.
Whoa!
Because there's a couple contract clauses that kick in if you're looking at some of the teams that he might go dealt with.
Okay.
Houston, we'll touch on in a second. By 4:00 tomorrow, Deshaun Watson is owed a guaranteed salary part of the contract. I think it's like 18 mil or 14 mil that they got to give him just because he's on the team.
They definitely gonna move him.
So and then if it is Atlanta, like the rumors are saying, Matt Ryan has a clause in his contract like that too. There's a lot of contracts that say on the 3rd day of the new league year or the 5th day of the new league year, a certain amount of your salary is owed to the player.
Would you go after Matt Ryan?
Would I go after Matt Ryan?
Yeah.
I thought about that. I really did think about it. I don't know. I think he's a better pass, but it ain't like we're getting a Russell Wilson or like Matt Ryan. Do I think Matt Ryan right now is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts? Sure. Yeah. But I don't think we had. I think with Matt Ryan, we would need a lot more weapons to make him sufficient because I don't see his skill set. I don't know.
I think Matt Ryan would probably fit better with the way Sirianni wants to coach.
I can see it as a Matthew Stafford version.
You agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, because we do have some weapons, right? I think he could get the ball to Devontae Smith better than what Jalen can.
And I think a lot of those open looks that Jalen missed, he's not going to miss them.
Right. But I mean, I just don't. It's like, to me, you're not really fixing the problem. So if I look at it, maybe Jalen Hurts is like number 19 quarterback in the league right now. Matt Ryan might only be 15 or 14.
Oh, so you only put him a couple steps ahead of him.
I only think a couple steps.
So you got my boy in the top 20.
I mean, possibly.
Oh, okay.
Possibly.
I like that.
Possibly that's being gracious, right? For the sensitive podcast. You know, we can sit here and really go over the quarterbacks. But yeah, I mean, I'll throw him in the top 20 because although I say we should replace him, I don't think he's complete garbage. I think he does bring some good quality to your team.
I agree.
And has the ability to get better. The ceiling is what I'm saying. Like, he might be 20 now. I don't think he's getting better than 14 or 13.
Yeah, I just don't want to relive a Michael Carter Jr., Ben Simmons type situations where they're not bad players, but they're not what you need to go to that next level.
Right.
That's not.
And that's my hesitancy on Matt Ryan. Right. I would with Matt Ryan. The Matt Ryan that you would get tomorrow would be the best Matt Ryan that you're ever going to get, possibly, because everything else on in his attributes are on the downward spiral. Where at least, like, I'm only willing to move Jalen again if we were getting, to me, a top 7 quarterback, top 8 quarterback. I don't think none of the guys in the draft are worth it. You know, I don't think a lot of the fringe quarterback, the Jameis Winstons, the Tyrod Taylors, none of those were worth replacing. But when we were talking possibly Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson, like all those, like, look, that you're stupid not to make those moves.
Gotcha.
But Matt Ryan, I can see why Sirianni would possibly want it, but I think with the organizational way that they go things, their next quarterback that they're going to get to replace Jalen is going to be a home run hitter. Like, he's going to be someone they think is a franchise guy, not just a stopgap. Like, I really think Jalen Hurts is, because we talked about this from the beginning. I don't think they ever drafted Jalen Hurts to be the franchise quarterback. He was supposed to be a cheap backup in case Wentz got hurt. And then once all that stuff happened, now we are with Jalen Hurts is starting our quarterback. Yeah. So I think they really know to win in this league, you need one of those top 7 guys.
Last year showed it. Like, we saw who was in the Super Bowl and why, and it shows everything.
Right. So Matt Ryan, I mean, will it make us go from 9-7 to 11 when we were 9-8 this year? Will make us go from 9-8 to maybe 11-6? Sure. But are we really beating the Niners or the Rams or with the Packers or Tampa Bay now that Brady's back with Matt Ryan? I don't really think so.
Yeah.
Right? I don't really think so. So it's a lot of intriguing moves. That Devontae Adams thing caught us by surprise. The other thing happened today, the Eagles cut Fletcher Cox.
What?
Yes.
Yo, there's no loyalty in this game, yo.
Right, so around 4 o'clock.
I missed that.
Around 4 o'clock, the news came out, Eagles cut
that's why, okay, happened late. Okay, I'm what the hell?
They cut him, but here's another thing. Remember I just was talking about...
But I was hearing trade rumors for the last few weeks, though.
They've been trying to trade him for a year and a half now. They've been trying to trade him for a year and a half now. But again, this one might have a happy ending, right? They cut him on the simple fact that, again, those words in the contract I was telling you about. By 4 o'clock today, he was due another guaranteed $18 million of his $22 million salary, right? So they cut him on the strength of that they are already talking to his agents about re-signing him and him coming back on a more team-friendlier deal.
Gotcha.
To whereas we only saved a little bit this year, like $3 million, $40 million. I was reading some of the numbers. We only saved about $3 or $4 million this year. But moving forward, the next 2 years is where a lot of the money that we were able to get rid of when it came to his contract specifically.
Now I got a question you probably can't answer, right? That little clause. Does anybody cash out on that clause?
Well, yeah. So
I'm being sarcastic.
No. Sometimes they do, but you have to look at it from the player point of view. Like we see, all right, they cut you so they didn't have to pay the $18 million. Yeah. But when they restructured the deal for the team, they pushed a lot of money to the back. But what they also did was take a lot of money from the middle and bring it to the front.
Got you.
So it was good for him at the time to restructure the deal because they got a bigger check right at that middle. And they're like, okay, yeah, my deal says I negotiated at 3 for $60 million, and I'm getting a guaranteed 19 right now.
Gotcha.
But the team pushed another 24 of it towards the end where they can get rid of you. But guess what? On this day right here in 2021, when I'm signing my name, you're giving me a check automatically for $19 million.
I got you.
So I'm putting it on the here now. I'm gonna get this. You cut me later, whatever. I can get another contract. I go to another team, whatever. But I know for sure I'm getting this $19 million. When at the time I might have only been getting 7.
Gotcha.
So even though the contract says I'm getting 60. I'm really only going to get 20 of the 60, but I was only supposed to get 7 at this time. So you know what I'm saying? So it benefits.
It's double-edged sword.
It's all about the wording in the contract, and that, as much as I get on Howie about drafting ban and wanting a new GM, that is his stronghold. That is his strong point with negotiating contracts, redoing contracts, getting some free agents that other teams, they were young players on other teams that maybe didn't fit their system, but seemed to fit our system.
I definitely don't feel the Elton Brand problem with the Eagles. I definitely don't feel that. I love you, Elton Brand, but you do some dumb
I hate
stuff,
Elton Brand, bro.
Yeah, I love him as a person.
yeah, for sure. I know. Maybe the master guy should have said it. He hated Elton Brand. Yeah. But he just ruined all the assets. You know, he shouldn't. It's not even his fault. He shouldn't have even been in that position to begin with. Right. So that's the moves today. Devontae Adams traded from the Packers to the Raiders. He goes back home. He's from Vegas. He went to Fresno State with Derek Carr, right? Said it right.
He's going to ball out.
Of course he's going to ball out. He's one of those guys. They let Zay Jones go. So you wonder, that was one of the best receivers on the Raiders. Now you put him there. And
he's going to ball out.
That AFC West is going to be something serious. I'm glad we played them last year. We don't have to play them this year.
Waller.
What you want to say, Zay?
Waller.
Yeah.
Renfro and Adams.
Yeah, that's sick.
It's like, it's going to be
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I was saying
the running back
position. They have a good back too.
And who's the coach now?
I don't know.
Josh McDaniels came from. So remember, I told you. Remember, we were talking about right before the free agency started. Ace was like, or we were talking about, do you think Derek Carr gets moved? And I was telling everybody I didn't think he's getting moved because I don't think Josh McDaniels goes over there to get to rebuild. He's not a coach that's going to get many more opportunities, right? He already went to the Broncos as a head coach when he was a young guy and tried to make it work with Tim Tebow. That didn't work out. So then they got rid of him. He's been in New England for the past 10 years. He's not going to get a lot more opportunities. So he wasn't going to Vegas to rebuild. He was going there to win now. And that move right there shows it.
Yeah. Their team I'm definitely going to be watching next season.
The whole AFC West is going to be sick.
The whole AFC, not even the AFC West, just the AFC in general.
Yeah. Now, this is another thing, too, that we touched on the last week. What do y'all think about the Russell move?
I mean, that was coming for 2 weeks. That was 2 years. But I'm
just saying, how you think he's going to be a good fit in Denver?
Oh, yeah. I mean, because the crazy thing is, they had the weapons around them. They had Jerry Jeudy. They had Tim Patrick. Who's the other guy?
Cortland Sutton.
They have Cortland Sutton. So they have receivers there. They got two. They have a great young running back in not Mike Wood, the other dude that came out of Carolina. He led the league almost in yards after contact, and Melvin Gordon with him. So they have a strong running game. They already have receivers. Now you got Russell back there.
Yeah.
Defense was good. I mean, how can you not be good? Like, the writing was on the wall. Seattle threw him under the bus after they traded him with all these little different press releases that the general manager and the owner said, hey, Russell wanted to try something new, so we wish him the best. Like, they're all out there letting everybody know that it wasn't the Seahawks that wanted to get rid of him. Behind the scenes, out front of the cameras, Russell plays that holier than thou. I'm the Superman guy. But behind the scenes, he wanted to get out of Seattle. He wanted to go to a bigger market.
At the end of that season, when I saw that record, I said, he leaving. I already knew it.
Right. And it came out, some of the players that played with him came out after the season said it felt like he was checked out halfway through the season. Mm-hmm. So there's another name to be watching out. No one knows what's going to happen with DK Metcalf. Now that Russell's not there, he might want to leave. He might want to be out. He might be the next one on the move.
Did they say anything about who's Russell's replacement going to be?
Right now it's Drew Lock. But they report came out earlier today that they've even reached out to Cleveland about the availability of Baker Mayfield.
Oh yeah.
Because Cleveland was one of the side teams that was trying to get Deshaun Watson. And it came out that they were, so Baker was like, well, y'all might as well go ahead and let me go.
I'm ready to get out of here.
I only got 1 year left on my contract anyway.
I'm not a Baker fan.
I think Baker's trash.
Yeah,
I think Baker's trash.
So it's like, you could be in your feelings all you want.
Right.
They got a reason to be looking at the quarterback.
For sure. So you've done nothing in 4 years to make them think they're in the upswing. I mean, damn, they gave you Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. Yeah. And they brought in a coach that likes to run heavy, so you're not even dependent on doing a lot. And
I don't even know why he has any endorsement though. So the shit is weird. Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't the number one. He wasn't the number one pick in the draft. Yeah. So maybe between him, but I mean, the NFL right now is just like the NBA. Players just move whenever they want to move.
It's exciting. Well, on to the NBA, man. How you feeling about what are we? 7 games more hard? 8 games more hard?
I think 9.
9.
I think we're 7-2 since the trade.
7-2. Yeah,
so I think it's 9 games since the trade, but 7 of them with them. I'm worried. I look at Harden and I see all the wear and tear of all them years in Houston where he was the main guy. Right now, maybe the hamstring is a real issue that everyone just said that he was just using it as a reason to get out and not play with Brooklyn, whatever. But I'm looking at a guy where he can't drive past anybody anymore. Right? He can't blow by anybody. Every time he drives the lane, he's looking to just drive into the chest of the defender and hope to get fouled because he can't get past anybody. I'm watching him drive down the middle lane. He seems to get ripped a lot. Like these young wings just seem to be taking the ball from him with no problem.
I feel like he's still like trying to rely on the refs, and he got to stop doing it.
Yes, and then throwing to the fact that he loves throwing these no-look passes at the ankles of players. He had like 4 turnovers yesterday. 3 of them were bad passes at like the feet.
I thought he was about to lose yesterday.
Yeah, right. And then we were up by 17.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is I wish Ace was here because this is definitely going towards Ace's thing about Doc. It's almost like I feel like the more practice time they're getting, the worse the team is getting.
Yes.
Like the offense looks slower. Like when James came and they didn't have no set plays, Maxey was going wild because it's like they just got the ball and ran.
Yeah.
They got the ball, push it up tempo.
You think he made it too technical?
I think so. I think they're trying to play too much to Harden's talent. Yeah. They run the, like Maxey just to stand.
Just go out there and just do y'all.
Yeah, Maxey now just to kind of stand at the 3-point player. We all know Tobias is not a great catch and shoot guy. That's why they have him standing. Mm-hmm. And it's high pick and roll with Joe. They got Joe stopping at the middle of the free throw lane when he gets the ball from Harden, and he's uncomfortable with the ball there. I know Joe's been still getting numbers, but Joe is so used to getting double teamed that when they're giving him the ball right at the free throw line, when everybody's spread out, Joe's head is on a swivel because he doesn't know where the double team is coming from, and everything just looks slow and stagnant.
And another thing too that I don't like what Doc is doing. At what point do you call timeout when these teams are going on these runs?
Bro, I wish I could throw the hat at the camera, bro.
I'm sitting there and I'm like,
this has been 2 years. Like okay, all right, 6-0 run. All right, it's NBA. It's on that 8, 10, 12-2, 14. Like, call a fucking timeout,
though. Once you start seeing that they can't get a bucket, it's like, so you want them, they was up by 17, so you want them to be down by 17 before you call timeout.
Yeah, bro, that has been one of, those are the two biggest pet peeves I have with Doc. Before the all bench lineup that he used to roll out there, right? And
everybody that don't start.
Just the propensity to never call a timeout when other teams are going to runs. That we build up these big leads and you just let them evaporate because you don't try to stop the momentum. I know it's not college where the momentum stops, but you got to try something.
No, as soon as with what I've been seeing this season, after 4 or 5 buckets, call a timeout.
Yeah, right.
It's really that simple, especially with the team that we have, and the defense is not the best defense. Call a timeout.
Yeah, I mean, because we are so old and slow on the wings that these teams we turn to guys who are not deadly shooters. We're asking them to shoot. They're missing a lot. When you miss long shots, everyone grew up. You miss a long shot, it's a long rebound. And these guys are running right past us. Harden's never going to get back on D quick, right? Tobias is slow. Danny Green is slow. George Niang is slow. Embiid's a 7-footer who you want near the rim, so he got to run the whole way back. These wings, these athletic wings on the other team are just running right by us.
I see so many missed 3-point shots turning into fast breaks.
2-on-1s, 3-on-1s. I mean, when we got blew out by the Nets, Durant said it in the postgame interview. Hey, we know these guys don't get back, so we were just going to attack them and run all day. And that's what they did.
Was it Denver? Denver did the same.
Yeah, Denver. Yeah, well, as soon as we went to the bench. Yeah, as soon as we went to the bench.
Like, what's going on?
And then Bones Highland lit us up from 3. It just seems like every time we play somebody, some dude who hasn't scored 20 points combined all year drops 30 on us, and we're just standing around looking, hoping Tobias can hit an open shot. You know what I'm saying? It's just that part is always frustrating. But I am worried about it. There's still, I think, 18 games left in the season. I think the last week and a half, they're going to start resting James and Embiid because I really think the gap in the standings, like we're going to be 1, 2, 3. Like you know what I'm saying? Maybe 4 because Boston's there, but there's not that big of a fall off after that. There's no way that like Cleveland's going to catch us or anything like that. So I think last week and a half they're going to start resting them. Hopefully, we get ready for the playoffs. But I definitely am worried. I'm looking forward to the offseason.
We still need more help.
Oh yeah, I mean to me, we had the foundation for the championship team. Now we have to put the pieces around it, and that's not going to be able to happen until the offseason.
Yeah, we need
right.
Tobias is not looking for that this year.
Tobias is going to go. We're going to take his money to get a couple of younger guys that we can spread out and add some more depth to the team. Hopefully Danny Green's going. We definitely can get rid of Furkan. We can definitely get rid of Isaiah Joe. Shake Milton can go. Like half the wings on the team can all go.
Now, would you show any interest in Bill if he still wants to come here?
Got to.
How you feel about that?
So just
elaborate, son.
Yeah.
I mean, teams are getting deeper and bigger. I mean, we're in the NBA where everyone wants to join the super team. So why not go grab Bradley Beal and pair him up with Harden, and it be. I mean, I'm doing it.
So on the surface, to me, you don't say no to going to get Bradley Beal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then my thing is, do you run into the same exact problem that we have now, where we just don't have enough players? That when the bench,
I'm the money.
When the starters go, well, I mean, his money is gonna offset what Tobias has.
No, I'm just talking about just as far as when you get him, like is it going to give you the availability for the young athletic guys that you're talking about?
Right. I don't think we do. That's what I'm saying. So we might get better on the front line, but we're still not deep enough. You just said the teams are getting bigger and deeper. Well, we need to get deeper. Pause. Right. We need.
No, it's not a pause.
It's enough bigger. And relax. Right. So we need to get more depth on this team. And again, it's going to sound crazy saying no, I don't want Beal. So I'm not going to sit there and say I don't want him. But I understand why we wouldn't do it. Right. I think more realistically, you watch Maxey grow to the third guy on the team. And you move Tobias Harris' contract for a couple of wings that you can bring on the bench, so we don't lose leads every time they go to the bench.
It's just nuts that they really got to play the whole game.
Right.
In order for us to stay.
I think Harden played 39, 41 minutes last night.
Yeah.
Like,
and when they won by 2.
Won by 2 or 4. Like after being up by 17 on them, because as soon as DeAndre Jordan came in and Isaiah Joe came in and Niang came in, it was like an 18-2 run.
Yeah.
It was absolutely crazy.
And that's another thing too. Like, how do you allow as a coach an 18-2 run? Once you went to a 9-2 run, it was time to recollect.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I hate to say, when H said it like a couple weeks ago that Doc might have to leave, I was like, H, you just a party hooper. Right. I'm starting to see what H was saying.
Right. One of those two moves would happen all season. Yeah. Tobias is going, or Doc and someone going.
Or they might just go together.
They might go together.
Go together.
Might bring in Mike D'Antoni, which is obviously Harden's old coach.
And I don't think that's going to be a bad move.
Probably not. I don't think you ever had a player like Embiid to work his system with.
That's just what I was about to say, yo. That's just what I was about to say. I don't think that's going to be a bad move.
But I mean, just like we talk about the AFC, and this year in the NBA, the Eastern Conference is crazy deep. Like, you know what's crazy though? Like, they are really doing, and I love it to a point, but they are doing the Lakers so dirty. And I love every second of it. The way that the Minnesota Timberwolves were digging in Westbrook last night and just calling him all types of trash in the middle of the game. Like, it's almost sad, but then not really, because I hate the Lakers and I hate Westbrook.
And I'm not going front. Westbrook been playing like shit.
Yeah, right. And he's another player, like, he doesn't see, unfortunately, not as much as Iverson, but it was like Iverson coming down the stretch when Iverson refused to play for Memphis or for Detroit, saying, I'm not coming off the bench, I'm the starter. Mm-hmm. At some point in time, you're not. At some point in time, Westbrook, you got to see your stats. I know you think you're better, and that's the confidence that it takes to make the league. But you're looking at the stat sheets every night. You're shooting 19% from 3.
That's just what I was about to comment on before you said that. When you miss some wide open shots and you're a starter,
and you're not even close,
and you're not even shooting 20%
and you're starter, close. And then you don't play D. Like, you don't bring anything else to the team.
Yeah.
So you can't even hit open shots because Brian out there trying to drop 50. Since the All-Star game,
he has to drop 50.
Since the All-Star game, they are 0-8 or 0-7 in games that LeBron hasn't dropped 50.
That he hasn't dropped 50.
So since the All-Star break, they have not won a game that LeBron hasn't dropped 50.
Is Anthony Davis coming back this season?
I think what do you think, Tay?
Yeah.
Any updated report?
They checked on him I think last week.
Right.
I think he has a week or two left.
And as far as the West Coast standings, what are they
the problem is the teams below them are so bad that they're still not in jeopardy of dropping out of the play-in format.
Yeah, so
right now. So what are they at? 10, 11 now? What are they at?
They're at 9, I think. Yeah, I think they're at 9 because
the Pelicans.
So the Pelicans are somewhere around there, and Portland is somewhere around there, but
no, Portland's not.
I'm saying they're around there. They're near 10, but until Anthony Simon got hurt, now it's Josh Hart doing everything.
Got you.
Right, so Simon took over the C.J. McCollum role while Dame has been out. I don't even know, is Dame coming back? So the Lakers still might play the play-in tournament. Yeah. And if you're in the play-in tournament, I know the Lakers are bad and so on and so forth, but you still never want to have to play LeBron and AD in the play when it's just a one game. When it's just a one game play-in tournament, you don't want those problems. You know what I'm saying? LeBron's still LeBron. What you say?
The Pelicans team is not that bad, and they just said that Zion's supposed to be coming back, and they say he lost like 25 pounds.
I mean, you remember what I used to say about C.J. McCollum? C.J. McCollum has been balling down there in the ones. Remember, he was one of the guys I was willing to take for Ben.
Yeah, I still like CJ.
Yeah, I think he could have played great. But I mean, you're not going to be Matt Harden. You just want Harden to be Harden.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. So you know what? We ain't really touched too much on baseball since we've been doing the podcast because it kind of in the season when we started. And
Right.
Bryce had just won an MVP.
Right.
But the Phillies got they got a couple new players this year.
They got 2 new relievers that's supposed to help the bullpen, and then they signed then they signed the big time left fielder Kyle Schwarber. Gave him about 20 mil, 4 years, 80 mil, 20 mil a year. He's going to shore up that left hand, and he bats first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, normally in a normal all season, I'm excited for that, right? But if you look at what the Braves have done,
you said the Dodgers made some crazy moves too.
I didn't even get to the Dodgers yet, right? Just in our division, the Mets had done some big things. The Nationals have done some nice things. The Braves are the defending World Series champs, and they're still trying to make their team better. But the Dodgers, bro, like the Dodgers lineup looks like a team you would create, like if you were trying to make a fantasy team.
It's like the old Yankees.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but like they just got Freddie Freeman last night to go with Mookie Betts, to go with Cody Bellinger, to go with Chris Taylor. Like there is no, and now there's no, with the new collective bargaining agreement, pitchers are not batting, so it's a DH in both leagues. They got no easy outs on that entire lineup. They're gonna might break all-time scoring records with that offense. Yeah. And forget the fact that they re-signed Clayton Kershaw and that their pitching depth is still there. But the fact that they have 9 guys that are possibly somewhere in the top 3 of All-Star balloting at each position is absolutely nuts.
So basically, like my minus injuries, they should really be in.
They should, yeah, right. I mean, but it's gonna be crazy because the Braves are right there with them.
Gotcha.
Right? The with the pitching with DeGrom and Max Scherzer with the Mets, they might have the 2 pitchers that could give the Dodgers problems. You know what I'm saying? But you still gotta play 7. Right? They're not gonna pitch everyone. So it's almost like the Philly season's already over before the season even starts.
These teams stacked up so crazy.
Yeah, it's stacked up so crazy, and that's what happens when you actually have good farm system. It goes back to drafting, right? Mm-hmm. We had 6-7 years of top 10 picks, and we missed every single one of them. So when it comes time that these big players are available for us to trade for, we don't have anybody in the minor leagues that other teams actually want.
They even want. Yeah.
That's going to be willing to give that. So Matt Klentak, who was the GM before we brought in Dombrowski now, set the Phillies back probably another 6-7 years. Because there's 7 years of number 1 picks that none of them can play. None of them can play. And some of them were top 3 picks in the draft. Number 1 pick. Mickey Moniak was the number 1 pick in the draft. He can't even sniff the major leagues. It's been 4 years now. So there's so many years of bad draft picks where we could have been having people either international signing bonus money where we could have signed players to the farm. Like we don't get none of that. We just got to pay a whole bunch of money for a couple stars and hopefully they get us there. Meanwhile, the Dodgers and the Braves are putting together, fantasy league teams. So as much as I'm happy the baseball back, get us something to watch in the summer, I don't really have a lot of high expectations. Of course, I want to see Bryce. I love Bryce. I'll pay to go see Bryce. The Phillies offense is not going to be that bad. They actually did improve their team, but if you look to where they're trying to catch up to, they'll be fighting for the play-in spot on the wild card because they added another wild card team to the playoffs with the new collective bargaining agreement. So we'll be fighting to get in to the wild card, and that'll be what September looks like until football comes back around.
And I heard you say the words fighting for the play-in spot. Right now, so it's another beef that Kanye even started with D.O. Hughley on here. Because he got suspended off Twitter for like the last 24 hours. Right. He might be back on there on a rant by the time we get done filming tonight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You still think he's justified for everything he's doing?
I hate to say it. I'm going to tell you guys, when you're dealing with people with mental health issues, and you're giving him all the attention that he is getting, you're playing right into his hands.
Right.
Bro. Right into it. And I keep telling everybody that he just needs to go to therapy, but he's never going to go to therapy as long as he keeps getting the attention from y'all. That's how
there's too many people that think he's right.
Yeah.
There's too many people that don't think he's doing anything wrong.
But I feel like even the people that he's arguing back and forth with, why would you argue with somebody that has mental health issues?
Right. Well,
on social media.
Well, you think DL Hughley shouldn't say nothing back to him?
I wouldn't say nothing back to him, yo.
He's a comedian. He's supposed to say.
Yeah, but I just feel like you if you want to use your platform for that, then you go right on the head. But wherever it goes is where it goes. That's how I look at it, because I just feel like there's other things to make jokes about. That's just how I feel. I mean, I'm not going to front. The one joke that he said, like, anytime you make a Kardashian date a white man, yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it's like, Kanye has mental problems, bro. It's like, why y'all keep giving him so much energy? Like I said, I tell my wife every day, I'm like, babe, you in this every single day. Like, I'm not even interested in it.
How you feel about Pete sending them the messages back?
I kind of feel like even with that, it's like, Pete, you still putting more gas on the fire.
Right.
I'm not.
Like, you should stick up for a girl. I was just asking.
At this point right now, Kanye will be blocked, yo. He wouldn't be able to text me.
You see, but how did you feel about him when Kanye asked him where he's at and he told him, I'm laying in bed with your wife? That was wild.
Yeah, I'm not.
That was wild. I was like, okay, Pete.
I'm not even doing that with a mentally unstable person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know where that could have went. That could have turned into the house getting firebombed that night. Like,
right, because he got the house right next to you.
And he got an excuse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He can just say he lost his mind off the text and he ain't doing no time to set his house on fire.
Again, man, you know, I'm on record saying I think Kanye cornball. So all this shit is, again, to me, I just want to hear good music. And if you're not making good music, all this extra shit don't mean nothing to me. You know, just go make some more Yeezys, go make some more clothes with holes in them. You know what I'm saying? Do all that, but this is just whack to me. It's cornball behavior. It's cornball behavior.
Too much, yo.
Like, I mean, I like it with Kanye. I didn't like it with the whole Slaughterhouse thing for the last 2 weeks. I'm a big Slaughterhouse fan. I think it's corny what Joel and Crooked did. So it just
get into that.
Did you know what's going on?
I know what's going on.
Okay, so Slaughterhouse, obviously, for those who don't know, 4 guys out there: Royce the 5'9", Joe Budden,
some of the
Joel
best rappers in the game.
Crooked Eye. About 15 years ago, they were all mixtape rappers. No one's really popular. No one's selling millions of records, but they were all respected as MCs in the game. They did a couple collabos. The internet loved it. The hardcore rap fan loved it. They formed the group Slaughterhouse. Put out a mixtape, kind of blew up. Got to the point where Eminem signed them to Shady Records. They put their first album out on Shady, where M didn't have a lot to do with it, and it sounded like the mixtape they were making. Second album, M kind of got involved when he was in the middle of his little drug thing. So a lot of the songs that were on the second album kind of flopped.
I didn't like the production on the second album.
Right, it was real goofy.
Did Eminem do a lot of production?
Eminem did about 3 or 4 of them. So M didn't touch the first one, right? Just promoted on Shady. But in the second one, M had a feature on there, produced a couple songs, and it just didn't hit the way that it was supposed to hit. He was in the middle of his drug stuff. I think the climate was changing from kind of bars to more trappy, that stuff going on. They were trying to still market to the college kid.
They sound like old head rappers.
Right. The album had a whole frat house vibe to it, and it just wasn't them. Mm-hmm. Right. And what M was trying to market them, but it just didn't hit it. So there's a lot of beef, and then I'm sure people that are, as time goes on, Joe with the Everyday Struggle, trashing Eminem's album, saying I'm not doing anything on Shady Records until they drop Slaughterhouse, so on and so forth. So there has been no Slaughterhouse album in the last 7 or 8 years. There's one done, it's called Glass House, where Just Blaze produced about 80% of it. It's supposed to be an amazing record for the type of people that like to listen to real hip-hop, 90s style hip-hop. But it's never seen the light of day because of the whole beef between Joe and Shady Records and Paul Rosenberg, and Royce stuck in the middle of it, so on and so forth. So as we move forward, Joe, everyone knows from Joe's podcast he's retired. But those behind the scenes, those that know him, say that he was willing to do another Slaughterhouse album as long as they got off of Shady Records. Well, eventually, about 2 years ago, they did. They got off of Shady Records. They negotiated to the fact where they got ownership to all their old music. So Slaughterhouse as a group owned everything. So within the last year and a half or so, they still haven't made moves on dropping any music, right? Royce worked on the algorithm that he got a Grammy nomination for. Joel put out a couple independent albums. Crook has put out a couple independent albums. And Joe's podcast has blew up. So I think about 6 months ago or so, Crooked supposedly brought a deal to the table that it was, an independent thing where they kind of like 300, where a lot of the independent rappers are going, where they make a good amount of money by owning their stuff, right? Yeah, it's a good label.
You get more of a percentage of
more of your royalties. It's a lot of your stuff. They front you a good amount of money, but you own a lot of stuff on the back end, which is where for independent artists where they make their money. They own a lot of their own merch. They keep a lot of their own tour sales. So when they go to these 5,000 seat venues, they keep a lot of those money for the show.
It's called a 9-3-60 deal.
Right. So apparently, there's breaking in communication between the group that whatever this deal was coming that Crooked put on the table, it was just basic bullet points to a deal. So Royce and Joe supposedly just had questions. Like, let me see the full deal. Have him send it to our managers. We don't need to talk this business stuff. We're friends.
Yeah.
Have the managers send the contract to the managers, look at the bullet points, look at the percentages, so on and so forth. And then that's where all the communication got put up. Royce and Joe said that it was never sent over. Crook and Joel keep talking about how, Joe keeps saying he's not rapping no more and they're not answering any emails, they're not Zooming, they're not doing none of that. Royce is saying I'm not doing Slaughterhouse without Joe because we're supposed to be a unit. Joel and Crooked put out an album together called Hard. So they've been rapping.
So they the new Temptations.
Basically.
Remember, at a certain point, it was 2 Temptation groups.
Right.
So that's what's going to come on, man.
Right. So they were rapping, but everyone knows out of the 4, Joe kind of blew up in the podcast lane, and Royce is now still garnering a lot of acclaim inside the music industry for how good his music are, while the other 2 were just kind of
falling by the way.
They're just there, right?
Because I kind of forgot about Crooked and Joel.
Right.
I mean,
so Crook tried to do the YouTube interviews with Crook's Corner, and there's a couple here and there. Obviously, the biggest one he ever did was M. But that's because, it's M. Anything M does, people are going to watch, right? So it got to the point where I guess Joel and Crook finally said, all right, we're done. We're done with the group. We're out. But instead of just telling them as friends, Joe and Royce find out that an album is dropping, and the first thing they do, they put a logo. Now, Slaughterhouse logo was a pig upside down. They set the pig on fire, right? So the logo was a burning pig. And they announced that them 2 are releasing an album, The Rise and Fall of Slaughterhouse, right? So they're dissing Joe and Royce on about, after I listened to the album that finally came out Friday, I listened to the whole album, and about 40 to 50% of the tracks in there talk about what went on behind the scenes, but just from their 2 points of view.
But, all right, now.
The other half of the album just them rapping.
Do you think they really want that smoke with Royce?
No, I don't think they want that smoke either.
Smoke
if you ask me personally, what I think the problem is
they
they know like rapping is the only way they get in their bag because they don't have no other avenues to get money, right? So it's like instead of continuing to work out there as group. Well, I mean, the Hard album that they put out is called Hard Housing Authority. It's something like that. It was a good album for the people that like listening to them. So they can continue to put music. You can keep rapping without putting out an album having to diss the other guys in the group. But they keep trying to say, well, the fans deserve to know what's going on because the Slaughterhouse fan group is like a cult following. Like,
definitely.
They're not selling millions. They got a strong 60, 70,000 going to buy the album every time. I'm one of them, right? So they have a cult following. So they say the fans deserve it. The fans always ask for Glass House, blah, blah, blah. But Royce and Joe are saying that, look, we never said we were out. You're burning it down. Like you disrespected the name. So now even if we want to work on it, now I'm looking at you sideways because you decided to get off is by disrespecting us instead of just going on doing your own thing. So that whole thing, and to me, it was so corny. Like it's just cornball mentality, and I feel like social media, like kind of rewinding it back to what we're talking about, is none of it felt authentic. I watched the little clips that Joel and Crooked were trying to make, the behind the scenes stuff. None of it felt like that's what they do, right? They're rappers. Let Joe do the podcast or the interviews. Like that's just what they do, and none of it felt authentic.
Hey, that's how I kept saying. Everybody doing everything for views and for likes. That's the world.
And it hurt me because like now I'm
that's bothering me the most out of everything.
They almost feel like they're making you pick between who you want to support.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way. They're a group. You like them as a group. You like them. We like them all individually, and then we like them even more when they came together as a group. Don't just start talking because the disses on the song really weren't that bad. So if you wanted to make another album together, you could have put one of them songs on there and like, yo, I'm disappointed in them. This is some of the things that happened. But you don't even have to promote the album dissing the other two and just setting the whole brand on fire.
Even branched off and made the part 2 Joe's and Royce perspective on what was going on.
Right.
But I said like the world that we live in now, that's what I'm saying, even with the Kanye thing, the more that we give attention to negative bullshit, that's the more that people roll into that type of behavior.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if they posted that dumb shit and nobody likes it, nobody views it, nobody comments, it stops.
Yeah. Yeah.
It stops. But I kind of feel like we so drawn to negativity as a culture now, and I don't care what race you are, what age you are. It's like whenever some dumb shit is going on, people pay attention to it.
Yeah. I mean, it happened in the young world of rappers about 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
When NBA YoungBoy and the Baby put an album out together, right? Everybody started going out the Baby because they didn't like NBA YoungBoy. So then you got people from Dirk's group, and all them going at the Baby. The Baby's like, I'm fucking making music. Like, you ain't gonna tell me who I can make music with. But now, every people that you never heard of, when they get shine, when they get famous, so everyone's online talking about this, talking about that. Did anything happen with that? Did the Dirk album do numbers when it came out?
Of course.
I mean, I listened to it. I thought it was okay. I thought Dirk's album was okay.
It definitely was going to do numbers, but I just feel like why can't, especially like when I see the young minority guys, like why can't y'all ever have anything popping off without negativity behind it?
Right. What did you feel about YoungBoy and the Baby album?
I didn't like it. To me, it was trash.
Do you like them individually? Like, do you like those two as artists individually?
I like him.
I like YoungBoy. The Baby's starting to fall off for me.
Yeah, because it's that same delivery on all his songs.
Yeah, it's just the same thing.
Yeah, that same delivery.
It's his fault. Like, he should have knew what he was about to get himself into.
I think he did, Tay.
Huh?
I think he did.
Well, yeah, I'm saying.
Like, we're talking about him right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just, you knew what you were going into. You know this is one of the biggest beef that's going on right now in rap.
And you gonna make this,
especially when Von dropped the album, you know, you knew Von just dropped and Dirk was about to come out. So in between them two, you link up with the dude that they hate, and you put a mixtape out together.
And what we doing right now? We're talking about it. Anybody that watches this is going to go be curious about why they're beefing, and they're going to watch it.
Right.
That's what goes on. This is the world we living in now.
Views and clicks.
Yeah.
So why don't y'all give us some views? Why don't y'all give us some clicks? Share, rate, subscribe. Spin Wax Radio, shout out, man. We appreciate the promotion. We're doing good numbers there. Apple, Spotify, War Room Sports. Check us out there. Check out War Room Sports on Spotify.
Y'all can listen to it while y'all working now.
Yeah, I mean, download these apps, stream us, share the YouTube videos, share the stream. Tell everybody about us, man. We come faithfully every week once again, man. Shout out and love to H and his family. We wish he could be here, but you know sometimes death is real. So appreciate and love everybody that you're close to, because you just never know when it's going to be their last day.
You just really never know.
So with that, we out.